Good morning, everybody. How is everyone doing? Last night, we saw a big drop. As I got up early this morning, around 6 o'clock, to do some early morning errands, I saw the market, which is the US Dow Jones, has the biggest fall since March. And of course, many of you would have seen yesterday, our market dropped almost 25 points. And this morning, the futures, KL futures, dropped below 1500. Now, I have already said before, if you have followed the SmartRobie KLCI charts, we have the red pentagon since 16th of July. Technically, only certain sectors will do well. And part of this is also due to the heavier weightage of the rubber glove, which many of you may have already informed if you've been following this program. So the question has always been, is this a time for sector rotational play? As we always say, that this is one of the strategies that we want to teach those of you who are listening today. So that is my morning update, and a very good morning to you. I hope my message finds you good and healthy, and you are with me, Martin Wong, the breakfast show, Money Talk with SmartRobie. As we move on to our story in there, the rubber glove has still taken a lot of the story that we have today. Perhaps there is a little bit lining up from that. Much of that on the later part of this show. Now let's go on to our story for this morning. It's no other than our first story, right, is the government stimulus. Now, this came out as one of the economists from Bank Islam wrote it on the Star Business about the current proposition and also the plan that is done by the current Perikatan Nasional government has been somewhat sufficient. What do you think? If you think the economy is sufficient, do let me know, and it's good to see what do you all think the market should be doing right now in here. So all has been said, the stock market has gone up, but have you benefited if you were affected by the COVID-19 lockdown, the economy? Now, what haven't been said, 2.75 million has been saved inside here, and a subsidiary of economic stimulus package of 295 billion. And more importantly, the increase in our debt ceiling level. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've been in the past periods, Pakatan Harapan government been fighting to bring this down from 55%, the debt level, to 50%, but this MCO, the COVID-19, we have brought back to 60%, and it was passed on Parliament, right? So we are seeing this really debt-laden strategy, which is taken up by many countries, not only us, and the leader is United States and other countries too, which is usually more focused on spending. What does it mean? Especially those of you who are the senior type may felt that, look, our country are taking up debt, this is not good. But that is how usually growth is achieved, by borrowing money, which is currently why the interest rate, which I've already said before, the September, we will get another 25 basis point cut. What does that mean? It means your fixed deposit is getting less, you are almost getting nothing. And that's why it's important to skill yourself as an investor, as a trader, to capitalize on that. Even today, there's something mentioned on the Starbiz, which I will talk about it today. Now let's move on to our next story. But before that, also our government are so starved for cash that 2.5 billion so-called settlement payment from Goldman Sachs on the one FDB. It's so much appreciated. It's just like we've been having a drought and then suddenly we have a rain, and this is durian runtuh. But is it durian runtuh? Of course it's not, isn't it? It's money that from the government which was stolen by the ex-Prime Minister and his regime of people, and we are trying to get it back. Of course, Goldman Sachs has benefited from all this together. Unfortunately, this is what's happening to our country. Do you agree what we are saying now? If you are, just give me a thumbs up in here. Hopefully, what we can do is go forward, be a smarter investor and trader, and skill ourselves and follow the right kind of information. Hopefully, our breakfast show is something that is good, so you can share with your friends and your timeline that they can also benefit. All right, let's move on to our next story. So our next story talk about the party is over for the retail investor, as highlighted by Star Business. Now, as I said before, the KLCI, if you look back here, all right, let me just show you on the chart here, and I'll bring it up. You can see on the chart on the right hand side, since the 16th of July, when the red pentagon come out on the right hand side, you could see that is where that warning is already been telling you. So when this market fall, hopefully you've been following a SmartRobie, and if you find it very helpful as a trainer, which pre-warns you again that you are not caught by surprise by the 25 points drop. No doubt about it. So right now, the news confirmation from the Star Business continue to hawk the headline saying party is over. And you will notice also at the same time, the loan moratorium, which should end 30th of September. And that's why people have less money to party, isn't it? So what this report also say that the retail participation will normalize back to below 40%, which means it is more important right now. We depend on foreign fund flows, which I normally talk about on Wednesday, and catch me also this Saturday, which I will give you another update. So they are expecting the August timeframe to normalize to below 40% for September actually, where we saw that big jump in August. That's why we hit the peak, and previously was 35% in there. So if you are a retail participant just like me and many of those who are listening in there, you will be bound to be affected. Now the question is, what can you do about it? Definitely one way is to skill yourself, fill yourself with information, good information, not just follow the sifu or follow the speaker like me blindly. I don't encourage you to follow me blindly, but more importantly is always question yourself and question the market. Only that way, through education, where you will become wealthy in knowledge and wealthy perhaps in helping out at difficult time. Do what I say this makes sense? If it makes sense, give me another thumbs up. All right, let's move on to the next story. Now, the next story also talk about the Bursa, which is along the same line in here, where the Bursa are now talking about market trading is not necessary for the quarters, but is for everybody, knowing that the interest rates are becoming to come down in here. So Bursa is encouraging everybody from one of the official email that they sent out that everyone should participate in the stock market. All right. So that was the final news that tie back to this. Now let's move on to our next story. Now the next story, which is something that present an opportunity for those of you who have not bought the rubber glove, or have you exited the rubber glove. So it all depends on two classes of investor or trader that you are. If you are the type of already, I've done that, I'm going to doing something else, then this is nothing new to you. But those of you who have not gone into rubber glove, this is an opportunity in here. You saw the Hartalega glove after announcing the record earnings, which is sometime back in July. You could see the peak up there. Maybe let me just bring up the laser pointer. You can see this was the peak, and this was shown as the upthrust, and then the market just sort of came all the way down. Usually in peak EPS or peak performance, that is where you want to take partial profit. Okay, take partial profit, not all profit, because I do think this rubber glove still has a bit more leg into it. The COVID-19 is not completed all over yet. So as such, do learn how to trade the pullback opportunity. And one way to do that is to join us this Saturday for another talk, which I'll talk about at 2 p.m. How to get into the pullback trades, which is a really technical term, but we hope to teach you that. All right, let's move on to the next story. Now, next story, we'll talk about the furniture makers. That's right. Now, this furniture maker was put up by Public Investment Bank, and the furnitures. Let's take a look at some of the furnitures, which is one of my favorite is Bohuat, Bohuat. All right, and you can see that. So that's why you make it so simple for you, and you can see. This is Bohuat, right? It's already moving up. So Bohuat, the furnitures, it's something of a relief, isn't it? If you are coming from the rubber glove, is it? It's like rubber glove, wow, so hot, so dirty. And then suddenly, wow, this place got aircon, which is the rubber glove. And also, every time when you go into a furniture shop, it's always aircon, isn't it? So think of that way. So the furnitures seems to talk about the better outlook in here. And the story talk about the furniture maker growth continue to be very, very positive in here, giving a 7.6% growth, which is still below the rubber glove. Rubber glove, we are talking somewhere between 30% this year, but generally they are around 10 to 15%, but below the 10% threshold for the furniture further. Now, this is also talk about the recovery in the US market, where, you know, as I said before, during COVID-19, a lot of people throw away the furniture, isn't it? And something that I've talked about in the previous 3 or 4 weeks ago talk. If you have followed me at that time and bought some of these furniture stocks, you would have bought me a cup of coffee. So that is one of the things that we really want to teach the investors, especially those of you who are very active and very savvy and really skilling yourself. A sector rotational play, it's good to stay ahead and rotating out with the tools that we provided in Trade VSA. Now, the story also talk about the furniture maker benefiting from the US and China trade war. Having said that, the export has jumped by 38%. Now, many of you who have rotated out in furniture, please type it in on my reply that if you have bought any of those stocks like Lihan and Pohuan and Homerits, which I did cover on the YouTube. So earlier on my front cover there, right? I always said before, on the bottom right hand side, subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will benefit from many of our talks, which include Wednesday night talk, and also this weekend talk and last week talk. Last week we talked about the plastics, isn't it? All right. Let's move on to the next story. Now the next story talks about the next plantation sector. That's right. So this story talks about the positive news for palm oil counter, because one of the minister came in, Deputy Plantation Industry and Commodity Minister Willy Mongi. So he talks about how good is the palm oil. Of course, politician being politician, they still need to come out and tell some good story. And same like me, so I also have to tell some good story, which is the palm oil biodiesel. Now, right now, the crude oil are increasingly going higher as the market recover. No doubt the yesterday big sell-off that we see in the tech stock and the Nasdaq will put a bit of damper, but the positive move is still uptrend for oil, and that will also translate to palm oil. So this new talk about we should relook into some of these stocks, which are, again, I already covered on the YouTube channel and 3 or 4 weeks ago. And some of those counter we talk about are THH resources. Let's look at THH resources and looks like a stock chart, right? And it's no surprise, again, a sign of relief if you see compare what you have on the rubber curve. I think as investor, as a trader, you will definitely agree with me. It's important to able to not become stupid fool, isn't it? For the smart money to take the money away, right? So that's why it is good to have the kind of tools, a SmartRobie, to stay ahead of the market and able to find out. All right, good, George, latitude. And the story previously also talk about, we cover Ta'an, which have exposure to timber, as especially also to plantation. So let's look at Ta'an for here, T-A-A-N. Okay, I think I got that right, Ta'an. Yes, let's look at the stock price. Where's Ta'an now? Okay, Ta'an right now has a sell-off, right, on the red pentagon. Perhaps time to take some profit. Okay, now these stocks generally, I would think for those of you who are elderly gentlemen, right, you might pick some of those that pay dividend. So if you look at Ta'an here, having said that, you can look at the stock fundamentals, and it pays a 3.6% dividend, something that is good. As I said before, the lower interest rate, it's not going to help. Definitely buying one of these stocks and learning to time yourself as well, able to rotate out, and more importantly, as I said before, skill yourself so you are able to buy on pullback opportunity, which we will cover this coming Saturday. All right, now let's move on to our next story. It's no other than UWC. UWC fourth quarter net profit came out, and they are doing very well, and the net profit jumped 85% to 18.6 million from the last year 10 million, and they are involved in semiconductors, no doubt about it. But more than that, they are like jack of all trades. They also do metal fabrication, assembly services, as well as also COVID equipment maker under the Life Science, where I think they form a subsidiary group. So those kind of shares generally do well. Let's look at UWC, right? Because some of the members did ask on Wednesday, how about UWC? But more importantly, this news comes out, again, would it have the same fate like Hartalega? What do you think? When Hartalega came out, of course, net profit also jumped more than 100%. This is 85%. I ask you that question. If you have UWC, do you want to buy now? Right, and suffer the same fate as Hartalega because of the uptrust and you don't know how to read the market? Or look for shares that is first. If you look at this, very simple, right? The first time where the green pentagon happened, which is around maybe 460, you could have made about maybe 15-20% in here. So that's why it's paid dividend to really have a tools like the Pentagon Guider or the SmartRobie to help you out. But right now, the mindset is to take partial profit. Do you agree with me? If you agree with me, give me another thumbs up. I think one of the things that we try to do in our breakfast show is to put money into your pocket, because money talk with SmartRobie. Hope that rhymes too. All right, let's move on to the next story, shall we? Now the next story talk about Duopharma, and this is a very good piece of article on Star Business, those you don't have, by Msia, which usually follow my program too. And she talked about Duopharma, many of the good benefits and feature. So when you buy this stock, Duopharma, if you want to buy, you better buy now. Don't buy when the government confirm, okay? After the thing confirm already, what we do? That is why buy on rumor and sell on fact for Duopharma, right? So do watch the past live FB. I talk about the post-COVID vaccine, talk about Duopharma, one of the local pharmaceutical. There's two, Pharma and Duopharma. Of course, there's others too, like Kotra, the YSFP, but I don't think those generally will fit into the bill. Duopharma has been more of lobbying. You know, if you notice the news, they say they have a 2 million, oh no, that's Pharma, they have a 2 million ringgit facility to do this distribution of vaccine, which if it comes from China or it comes from the US side, I think likelihood these two companies, Pharma and Duopharma, which has been the government contractors for the massive medication that you get in the hospital, so they will get something. So if you look at Duopharma, let's look at Duopharma in here. Okay, hit that one. And you can see, let's look at the stock price chart. It is making a very nice dip, okay? Very nice dip, a nice pullback in here. Again, if you want to see the pullback price, just go over to the trading plan, right? You can see it's 340, okay? 3 ringgit 50, and let's look at the stock price right now, and it is 332, okay? So we are in the range of the pullback entry. That's very good, okay? So again, if you were to buy on pullback entry, very important, this weekend, follow us, and I'm going to show you how we do that with the pullback entry. All right, so definitely if you break up 392, long-term target $4.68, which is now $3.30, so a little bit of upside. And let's look at the fundamental first, okay? The stock fundamental for this is certainly rated 1. It's not cheap, but it is still profitable. The ROE at 9.2, and best of all, for my Muslim friend, it is Sharia compliant. And how do we know that? You can see just next to the 7148, there is a S that denotes the Sharia compliance. All right, so let's move on to the next story, shall we? Now, the next story talk about how to do, especially those of you who are caught in the meeting and it's very boring, and this is one of the features which we tell people, learn to read the news, okay? Learn to read the news. So in this story, we are talking, let me just show you here, okay? News. Okay, so you can see every 30 minutes there will be new news. So right now, the news that we had previously was talked about on the screen was Advanced, where they have a quick take, Advanced share up due to ECRL contract. So by able to follow the news headline, you can see how this kind of stocks come into play, more of exploration or discovery. That's why we call it the trader discovery trade news for trade ideas. Okay, Hong Leong Finance introduced ESG framework. Then we have Padini Kenangan updated Padini raised target price to some ringgit there. Okay, we can also look at Padini right now because of this news. Right, I'm sure this thing so jalan one, right? Sometimes I think these analysts are all pakak one. Oh, it didn't go up. So it's 2 ringgit 29 cents inside here. And let's look at the news. What is the news? News, it's very negative. That's good, right? You want to buy stocks that generally gives a kind of negative news. But let's look at the stock chart. Let's look at the stock chart, shall we? Okay, so this is how I want to train you guys how to look at it in here. You can see the market fell somewhere from 2 ringgit 90 cent. Let me just pitch it up here. You can see over 2 ringgit 60 cent and fell all the way to, and then maybe of the news. That's why you see this climatic volume of Padini inside here. I think going on a long term, Padini should recover, because if not, the analysts wouldn't put up that stock price. Okay, that's something good to know. All right, let's look on to the previous news that we have inside here. That we have Advanced Hova Genting. The one that I have on the screen, if you could see it, we have Post. Okay, you can see post. Let's look at post. And post, in there you could see the Pentagon is green. And it says that Post Malaysia has increased flight frequency to East Malaysia to deal with higher parcel or volume. Again, a play on e-commerce in here. Let's look at the chart. Okay. Oh, okay. Now you can see if you were to buy Post, this is certainly at the right spot. It hasn't really moved up yet. It does has a very nice base. This is more of a turnaround play. Now we want to buy that at the base there. And does it pay a dividend if you want to hold it a bit? All right. So you look at the stock fundamentals. Okay. Wow. Despite losing money, you can see, right? Despite losing money, okay, at ROE of minus 19%, it pays a 4.5% historically. So would it continue? I think would, because this is part of the government GLC company here. So something take note of. You want to buy at the base. Again, it all falls back to the strategy. Now, what we have said so far and the feedback that we've given you a lot of strategy. The premium alert for the fast one, and then the Pentagon buying early. And I believe all of you, investor and trader, which is very different from everyone else and different from me, you should have your own strategy. Very important, as I said before, find out what is your true purpose in trading or investing. If your true purpose in trading investing is just want to mine, then there's a lot of things. But when you lose money, there may be a little bit unhappiness. But if you are young, you should take the goal of investing in the longer term, but at the same time, also speculate a bit. Do what I say this makes sense or not? If it does, give me another thumbs up. All right, let's move on to what we have for you, no other than our premium alert. Now, the stock that we picked for today, of 4th of September, is only TM Logistics, because that's the only one we got, because the market is still going through some sort of sell-off that we see. Oh, right now, wow, come back with it. Just now at 9:30, I already had TM Logistics. So last week we picked Sendai, which is up 1.8, but Lotus fell 6% in line with everything else. So in here, you see all the plantation coming out, right? Isn't it? We talked about plantation, right, just now, right? So you can see TH plantation, MH plantation, cepat. Auto, I already said before, the car industry, I talked about it before. So 5248 is also good. Let's take a look at 5248 and let's look at the chart. And this one, it's coming up slowly. Again, 5278, it's auto industry. It's a recovery play on luxury things. And you can look at the stock fundamental. Something good for our, you can see dividend of 15.5%. Very, very high. And it's rated 4. Okay, a 4 out of 8, a really undervalued stock if you believe the auto sales which continue to improve. Again, I talked about this also one of the episodes that one of my friend who is a sales manager in the MasterClass, he said run out of stock. A lot of people buying due to the Penjana stamp duty waiver. All right, so something good to know about. All right. So this is a few things you can really play around with SmartRobie during the day when you're sort of bored or the meeting is boring. Just play around and you will find a lot of trade idea that work. Which most important, as I ask yourself and many of my members, is what is your goal, right, in creating wealth? Do you want fast money or do you want slow and steady money? Let me know and send me messages. I'll be delighted to just point you at the right way. So the TN Logistics is one of the stock plan. So the other one is BAuto. So let me write this down, BAuto, okay, on my little thing here, which we will come back and review on Monday. So right here or not, right now, let's look at the market right now. And we hit the KLCI. This morning was down more, and now it's only down minus 6.93 points, or 0.5%. So markets is recovering. Okay. So the next talk, that's right. The next talk will be headed by the Trade VSA team with my coach and trainer Zac and Arif will be on this coming Saturday. All right, this Saturday 2 p.m. If you have time, or even if you are sitting down somewhere, do catch me for the part 2 of the 5G tech booming sector and possibility avoiding the rubber glove healthcare, or maybe buying on a pullback. That's right, the part 2. If you have not seen the part 1, that will be archived in the YouTube. That's why we ask you to subscribe to the YouTube, or you can go over to the Facebook and under the playlist and look for that. But part 2 definitely will be something new. We will focus on more entries. We will show you some of the tools that is needed, absolutely free, some of those, right? Including SmartRobie, how to use it to grab your opportunity now before price move higher. That's right. Of course, some of you say, Martin, Nasdaq falling right now, right? Isn't that good, isn't it? You don't want to be buying the thing go up, right? So when Nasdaq fall, you want to fall further. Because like it or not, we are in the US election this year. But more this Saturday. So make sure you join me on Saturday, 2 p.m. More on that. Now, for those of you who are first time, right, as we always get a lot of first timer, do join our Telegram chat room, and we are growing a big family inside there, and we hope to cater to all of you with our free information and free tools that will help you, like SmartRobie, to put money into your pocket. With that, I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. But not before that, 9:30 tonight. My colleague Zac Lim will come with you with stock review and analysis. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for sharing this video, and thank you for the last half an hour of your time with me, and I truly enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoy as much as your time learning about the market with SmartRobie. Thank you, and see you soon.